Hi everyone, my name is Megan and today I'm going to be teaching you how to use CustomKnight Creator. So CustomKnight Creator is a tool that helps you easily make skins for Hollow Knight, and it does that in a couple ways. First way is it breaks apart sprite sheets into individual frames, and then it will put those frames into animations that you can easily preview. Once you're done with that, you can put the frames back into the sprite sheets so that the game can read it. And then it will also save you time by helping you recognize places where sprites are reused. CustomKnight Creator is similar to another program called Sprite Packer by MageKey, which I also have a tutorial for, but I recommend using CustomKnight over Sprite Packer because CustomKnight has more features and functionality. In order to follow this tutorial, you're going to need a couple of things. You'll need basic literacy with computers, the internet, and digital art. You'll need a Discord account. You'll need Hollow Knight, either on version 1.5 or version 1.4.3.2. FirePakka, which is a free art program that you can use on Windows and Mac. I highly recommend an art tablet, and I also recommend Windows operating system. I say however here because there are basically this program can be used on Windows, Mac, and Linux. However, most of this tutorial will be focused on Windows, and so you will not necessarily be able to understand all of it if you are on another operating system. It will also be split up into a couple of sections. So they'll be installing and setting up CustomKnight Creator, editing and working with sprites in FirePakka, previewing sprites with CustomKnight Creator, backing sprites into sprite sheets with CustomKnight Creator, putting your art into the game, and lastly, common problems and troubleshooting. And these will all be accessible via timestamps in the description and embedded into the video itself. Finally, there are 3 ways you can handle if you have any questions. I encourage watching the video all the way through, especially the troubleshooting section at the end, but if you're still confused, the first thing you can do is leave a comment below. I respond very quickly. You can also ask for help in the modding help channel of the Hollow Knight Discord. And lastly, you can ping me on the Hollow Knight Discord. Please do not DM me, my DMs are private. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is install CustomKnight Creator using this link. It will also be in the description. And you're going to want to go to Releases, click on the version marked Latest, download the version for your operating system, and save it somewhere memorable. So let me show you what that looks like. This is the CustomKnight Creator GitHub page, and you can find this Releases tab here on the right hand side, or if you scroll down to the Installing section and click Releases. So I recommend clicking the one with Latest, and you'll see 4 here. Click the one that is relevant to your operating system. In this case, we will be working with Windows probably. If you're on Mac, just know that this ARM64 version is if your MacBook has an M1 chip. If you aren't sure, or if your MacBook doesn't have an M1 chip, just go with the x64. It will work for all MacBooks. The next thing you want to do is you want to download sprites for CustomKnight Creator. And so you want to click this link. Again, it will be in the description. Open up the capital S sprites folder. Download the lowercase s sprites folder. You can also just download the Knight folder inside of this. Save it somewhere memorable and pin it to quick access. So I'll show you what that looks like. You will want to go to this folder, go to the capital S sprites, and then you can either download this or you can download the Knight folder inside of it. The main difference here is that you'll mainly be working with this Knight folder, and so if you just want to get started real quick, just download that. However, later on you will need many of these other folders. So if you just want to get everything done in one go, you can download the whole thing. Now you're going to set up CustomKnight Creator. So obviously you want to open up CustomKnight Creator, and I'll show you all of the rest of these steps in the program itself. So here's my CustomKnight Creator. And when you first open it up, it will look like this. So step 1, root folders. I'm going to briefly explain what a root folder is. So let's look in here again. All of these folders at this level are going to be root folders, and that's basically what you need to know, okay? So Sprites itself isn't a root folder, but AbyssStream anim, Charm Blocker anim, ClickScream 2 anim, etc. are all root folders. So as long as it's on this screen, it's a root folder. And again, I recommend that you start with Knight, regardless of what folder or folders you decided to download. So you'll go to Add. You want to navigate to wherever you saved your Knight folder. So I'm going to navigate to my location. And I just have Knight right here. Then you can click Load Categories. I'll come up with some things in this Atlases and Collections tab. And what these are going to be are any sprite sheets that you have within this root folder. All sprite sheets, or all root folders will have at least one sprite sheet, probably more. And don't worry about enabling or disabling them. That will just make it so you have less to look at once if you want to. Then you can click Load Animations, and you should have something like this. The only difference that you will see is that this Knight in the preview section will look like the default Knight, assuming you haven't changed anything. And very briefly, I'll go over these two little windows as well. So animations are all of the animations in the entire root folder across all of the sprite sheets. Most of these are going to be animations with the Knight in it. Some of them will be effects, like this one where you slash the nail. And then the sprites section on the left, or on the right rather, are just all the frames in any given animation. One thing I forgot to mention is you want to select your output folder. And so this is going to be where the program will stick your finished sprite sheets, or your edited sprite sheets rather, with your art on it that the game will be able to read. And what I recommend doing is I recommend making a larger folder that has, you know, your Knight, any of the root folders you're using basically, as well as anything else you're using for this. So you'll see I have my Knight, which is one of my root folders, and I also have one called Knight Output. So I just recommend putting these in a, putting these folders in a larger folder and sticking them together. And you can just select your output folder, and that's all you need to do to set up CustomKnight Creator. So very briefly, I'm going to go over which root folders are which. And by that, I mean I'm going to put them on the screen. So basically, you'll want to start with Knight. That's going to have the majority of the animations in your sprite sheet. But the rest of these are going to be important as well. And the one thing I'll say on this is that there's a few in here that have the Knight in it that you might not expect. So Quirrel, for example, the Quirrel root folder also has animations for the Knight in it, mostly for the Knight sitting at Blue Lake. And there's a few other, like Dream Cutscene Anim, where you get the dream mail. And here's a second screen explaining what these all are. So Hornet Blizzard Scene, Knight Cutscene Anim, Collect Scream 2, etc. These are going to be important. If you aren't sure, because I didn't go through all of them here, which ones you want to pay attention to, what I recommend is working on them one by one, and then if you feel like you want to check things to see if they have the Knight in it, you can open the folder and go to Atlases, which is your sprite sheet, and just look at this. And if you see images of the Knight in there, you'll know that you need to work on it. So this one has the Knight in it, for example. After that, you're going to want to learn how to edit and work with your sprites. So, in order to do this, I suggest using Fire.png, which is a free program for Mac and Windows. And you can get that at Fire.png.com. I'll show you what that looks like. So just click Download Latest Version here, or Latest Version Now. It should be available for whatever operating system you're using, if it's Windows or Mac. And once you have Fire.png downloaded, you're going to want to follow these steps. So I'll show you what that looks like as well. So Fire.png should look something like this. Might be a little bit different, but largely like this. And what you want to do is you want to go to Open, and you want to navigate to wherever you've put your Knight folder. So this is where my Knight folder is. Also, or not necessarily your Knight folder, but any root folder you're working with. And I recommend starting with your Knight folder and starting with the idle animation. As you can see, I've already done this idle animation, so this isn't how I'm going to show you how this works. What I will show you is this airborne animation, aka the jump animation. And in order to get things set up in this art program, you open up file by file. So let's start with this first one. And this is the first frame in the animation. I like to rename it into the name of the file itself, which you can see up here. And the reason why I do this is so I can more easily keep track of which sort of layer is what. Then you want to do open as layer, so I'll show that to you again. File, open as layer, and just open each image sequentially. So I'll do that now real quick. So those are all of my files open, and as you can see right now, they're all laid on top of each other, which isn't great. Now if you're familiar with art programs, this will probably make sense to you, but what I'm suggesting is that you put each of these layers in a folder. So I like to name them frame 1, put it inside, frame 2, put it inside, and so on. I'm going to do this real quick as well. And once you're done with that, you'll have all of yours in folders. The reason why I mention or suggest that you should do this in folders is because you're going to be working with a lot of layers. And each of these folders is basically, as the name implies, a different frame of your animation. So what you want to do is you want to be able to look at each frame individually. So if I hide all of these, now I can very easily see this first frame. Because you're going to have so many layers, you're not going to want to be hiding every single layer. It's much easier to just click to hide the whole frame, and it also helps you keep track of things. So I recommend you start with your first frame. Because this first frame is already done for me, I'm going to show you what this looks like for my first unfinished frame, which is frame 9. So what I recommend doing here is putting this reference layer to a low opacity, and then using as many layers as you feel comfortable with. And by that I mean I personally like to use as many layers as possible. So I like to use, for example, headline art, and then I can do head coloring. I can have cloak line art and cloak coloring, and so on and so forth, okay? The way I do this, which isn't going to look pretty because my tablet is currently not working, but use your imagination, is I'll draw the headline art on one frame, and like I said, it looks bad. I'll draw the cloak line art on the next frame, and then I can do basic coloring. So let's say I wanted to make this red for some reason, and I wanted to make this blue for some reason. Alright, once you're done with your artwork, you can close your folder, hide it, and open up the next folder and repeat. And it's just that simple for the actual art process of it. There are a few areas where you might be confused about how to replicate certain effects, what line size to use in Fire Alpaca, etc. If you want that information, I recommend going to my Sprite Packer tutorial, which is one of the only other videos on my channel, and you can use the timestamps in the description to skip to the relevant moments. And those should have more in-depth instructions. But again, I expect you to have a level of art, digital art literacy for this tutorial, so I'm not going to go into that in huge amounts of depth. So here's what this all says. Basically, I just told you it, and here we see it again. The one thing I'll say very briefly, which I forgot to mention, do be careful with your layers depending on your computer's power. It might be challenging for your computer because layers can be quite taxing. So in the past, I've done art with a lot of layers before on pretty bad laptops and it's worked fine, but I do know that it can be an issue for some people, so do be cautious. The next thing you're going to want to do is save your sprites. I have two formats here, and that's not an either or, it's a both. The reason why I say that is because these both have different functions. Again, you're probably familiar with this if you know how to do digital art, but I want to explain why I'm saying this and how to do it. So let's go back to this really ugly sprite we made. Obviously you want to hide the reference layer, but then you want to save it in two ways. And so let's start with the PNG. You want to go to File, Export, and it's going to say file format PNG 24-bit PNG. You want to make sure that that's transparent, otherwise the background will be solid white, and then you can press OK. Now you're going to want to save this in a very specific way. You're going to want to go back to whichever root folder you're working in, whichever animation you're working in, and then overwrite it. So click this and say confirm save as. It's going to say this file already exists, do you want to replace it? You say yes. The reason why this is okay is because we're going to be saving this in the native file format of Fire Alpaca, which will also save this Knight artwork, okay? And you can also get it by downloading the folder again off of Google Drive. The other way you're going to want to save it is you're going to want to go to Save As, and then you're going to want to basically create a new folder. So in my computer, I have created a folder called Knight.png and Associates. You can name it whatever you want. And what I do is I will save these with the name of the animation, which will make it easier for me to find in the future. So in this case, this is the airborne animation. And I've already had it saved because I've already done some work on this animation. But you can save it again, or you can save it for the first time, depending on what you're doing. In this case, I don't particularly want to save it because I do not want to keep this artwork. But it should be relatively easy after that. That's basically all you need to do. Now, the reasons why I recommend these two file formats. PNG is the file format that CustomKnight Creator will be able to read and pack, and you need it in order to have a animation that will go into the game. .mdp is the native file format for File Alpaca, and what that means is it's going to save all of this information here. So that includes your folders, your layers, any effects you've done, etc. And obviously, if you want to edit your artwork at any point, it's a lot easier to edit something where you have all of this information than to edit a flat picture. So you'll see if I hide these. In this case, I opened up PNGs of the images as my layers, and as you can see, these are flat images. And so if I try to erase something, it'll erase the whole thing. That's the basic idea of it, just to save in those two formats, and that will make sure that you don't lose anything important. Also, of course, when you're saving as a PNG, you need to save each frame independently. So you'll show this and export it as a PNG. You hide it, you show this one, you export it as a PNG. You hide it, you show this one, you export it as a PNG, and so on. For the MDP, for the saving as here, you only need to save it once. Hi everyone, Editing Megan here. I realize I accidentally skipped past this slide about previewing your animations. Luckily, it's extremely simple. There are two ways you can preview your animations in CustomKnight Creator. The first one is playing your animation, and the second one is autoplay. And I'm going to show you those both now. So I'll show you playing your animation with the dash animation. So as you can see, it just played once and stopped. And I'll show you autoplay with the idle animation. And as you can see, it's looping infinitely. Now, it's really not a big deal which one you choose, it's mostly a level of comfort. The only real difference is that some animations are just going to make more sense for autoplay, and some will make sense for animation, play animation. So as you can see, it doesn't really make sense to play the idle animation once, because in the game, it's going to be looping forever. Now, it doesn't really make sense to loop the dash forever, because you're very rarely going to be dashing like this infinitely. But it does make sense to play the dash animation once. Other than that, just do what you feel is most comfortable and quickest for you, and that's that. The next thing you want to know is how to check for duplicates using CustomKnight Creator. So I'm going to explain what this means real quickly. Basically, Hornet reuses the same art in many animations. So for example, if we look at the idle animation, these are just images of the knight standing still. There are a lot of animations in the game where the knight stands still in this exact pose. You don't want to redraw that every single time. So what CustomKnight Creator does is it has ways to check to see, hey, does this exact pose show up anywhere else? If so, we can take the artwork that you've drawn and copy and paste it everywhere else so that you don't have to redraw it a billion times. This saves you a lot of time and effort, and that's really important because this will take you at the very least a month, and that's if you're working multiple hours almost every day. So there are two ways to check for duplicates. There's per animation and per root folders. So I'm going to show you what the screen looks like real quick using the per animation one, which is view animation duplicate groups. You're going to have two major things you're looking at here, the duplicate groups and the frames. Duplicate groups are the layers for this given animation, and then the frames are where this specific layer is repeated. Now, when you're looking at this screen, especially if you're trying to check for duplicates, it will probably look a little bit different. The first frame on the right hand side will probably have the artwork you've drawn, and everything after that will have artwork that is from the original game, unless you've already duplicated it. But that's basically what it looks like. And then the other way you can do this is all duplicate groups. So this one takes a little bit longer. But as you can see, this duplicate groups on the side is much longer, and that's because it's not only for the idle animation, it's for every animation in this root folder. And those are the only real differences. So why should you do one and not the other? Animation side is useful for checking for duplicates, again, of course, with the current animation you're looking at. And I recommend doing this every time you finish an animation. Doing it across all root folders or all duplicate groups will show you every single animation in your root folder, and I recommend doing it less often. You can really basically just do it every time you finish a root folder. Alternatively, you can do it a couple times per root folder, however often you feel like, and it helps to make sure you didn't miss anything. Apologies for the typo there. So regardless of which method you use, CustomKnight Creator is going to tell you where there might be duplicates. And you might have noticed when I loaded up all duplicate groups, let's open that up again, that there are two types of duplicate groups on the left-hand side here. Now, we've sort of made it doubly obvious in some senses which type you're looking at. The obvious way to see it if you are not colorblind is one of these groups is red and one of these groups is green. If you are colorblind or for some other reason can't tell, these ones have check marks and these ones have X's. The main what this information is telling you is a couple of things. If it's green or it has a check mark, that means that A, it is your own artwork for all of these frames, and B, that all of these frames are matching. Okay? If it's red, that can mean one of two things. That can mean either that all of the artwork in the frames is the original artwork, or that one or more of them is the original artwork and you have not duplicated, or one or more of them has your artwork but you have not duplicated it across all the frames. So in this case you can see that only one of these has my artwork and one of them has the original artwork. But what these should do, or what should be happening here, is that these are both the same frame. So there are two ways to address this regardless of which method you're using, if you're using animation duplicate groups or all duplicate groups. And those will be these two buttons down here, select main copy and auto replace all. Now these are pretty similar. What select main copy does is you want to click the one that has your art in it. In this case, in most cases, it will be the one at the very top. So for me it's 003 Airborne, etc. And you want to click on that one and you want to click select main copy. And then it will replace all of the frames that look identical with it with your artwork. The other option you can choose is auto replace all. And what auto replace all does is I can be clicked onto this one and I can click auto replace all and it will still replace it with this artwork. And the way it does that is by figuring out which image I have most recently edited. And so I have saved this one just now with you in this video. This one I downloaded quite a long time ago, and so it hasn't been saved very recently. So auto replace all in some cases can be a little bit more convenient. The one thing we want to warn you about with auto replace all is that it hasn't been extremely extensively tested, and it can risk you losing some art that you don't want to lose. Usually it will be art from Hollow Knight itself, so the original artwork, unless you're making, multiple pieces of art of the same frame for whatever reason. Now, if it is just the original artwork, that's not a big deal, because if you're using my method, you'll still have it down here, okay? You'll also be able to download it again from the sprites folder. If it's your artwork and you have made multiple pieces of art of the same frame, then you're going to be losing one of them. So use it with a grain of salt, be careful, and don't get mad at us if it ends up deleting some of your artwork. I'll show you select main copy, but again, you should know how both of them work at this point. So if I click select main copy, it'll pause for a second. And now if I click this, it is also this ugly art. Now I'm going to say very briefly, having anything in these screens be red or have the X is not a big deal. It just means that there's still work to be done. And even that's kind of, questionable. So if you look at some of these frames, this one is just /artwork, and most people aren't going to be editing this unless you want to add sparkles or something. And so you might end up having ones that are red or have an X mark next to them just because it's not anything you're interested in editing. Don't worry about it a lot. That is just the way it looks. So here's more information about select main copy and auto replace all. And finally, let's get on to packing your sprites. So basically that means taking all your individual artwork, putting into sprite sheets that the game can read, and that's it. I recommend packing frequently. It mostly helps with your morale, and it's also mandatory for putting your skin in the game for testing or for just using it. Packing your skin is very simple. All you want to do is ensure that your output folder is correct. In this case, I do want it to go to CustomKnight output, and then click pack. You're going to get this error message, and I'll talk about that more at the end in the troubleshooting section. The only thing you need to know for now is that it's basically not an issue 99.9% of the time. So just press yes, and it will say packing sprites in the info section. And now it'll say done packing. And if you want to check out what that looks like, you can go to where you have stuck your folder. And now I have updated this. So if I open it up, I can zoom in and I can see this artwork. I might be able to also find the ugly artwork I've made. Let's see if we can find it. Not immediately seeing it, but the sprite sheet is huge, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm sure it's, oh, here it is. Beautiful. So this is what it all says. You know, it'll freeze. You can go to your output folder and check it. Next up, you want to put your sprites in the game. So, one quick note, most of your sprite sheets by default are going to have the wrong name, and if it has the wrong name, the game will not be able to read it. So here I will include a list of all the correct names that I know of, and I will also probably put them in the description if I remember. But this list is not complete. I found as much as I could, but I couldn't find the names for all of them. And the ones I could not find the correct names for, or cannot verify that the names are correct, are these: Geo, Hatchling, Shield, Skullleft, Skullright, Void Spells, and VS. I don't think this is a huge deal. The reason why I couldn't find these names is because no one ever uses these in their sprite sheets. And I suspect a lot of these are correct. Like, I think that Geo doesn't need to be changed. But if you do end up having issues where you're editing these sprite sheets and you're not sure if the name is correct, just ask for help in the modding help channel in Hollow Knight's Discord. Here are the correct names for the ones I do know the names of. So we know for sure that Knight.png is correct and doesn't need to be renamed, and we know for sure that Quirrel.png is correct and doesn't need to be renamed. These are all the fixes for the ones that do have incorrect names. So on the left-hand side is the incorrect name, and on the right-hand side is the correct name. I won't read them all out loud, just pause if you need to reference this. Now, finally, I'm going to show you how to actually get them in the game and how to preview it. Now, I'm assuming if you're watching this tutorial, you know how to install CustomKnight, and you probably already have it installed. Because of that, I'm only going to give you a very brief tutorial on how to do it, if you don't already have it downloaded. So you'll want to go to the Discord, the Hollow Knight Discord, which is linked here. It's a very simple link. And once you open up the Hollow Knight Discord, it should look something like this. Or like this, I'm not really sure. And what you want to do is you want to scroll down to here, go to modding help, and go into pins. And you're going to look for this message by Mickley that starts with current installers. At the time of recording, it's at the top of the pins list. It might not be at the time you watch this. But if it's not there, just scroll down and find it. And you want to download one of two versions. You either want to download Scarab, if you're on the latest patch of Hollow Knight, or if you're on 1.4.3.2, you want to download Mod Installer 2. Don't install Mod Installer 1. It says it's for Windows only here, but I found that this one works best for all of them and is the most up-to-date. You can click on them. Both of them are going to take you to download, so the Scarab will take you to a GitHub page. It will download the same way that CustomKnight Creator did. And Mod Installer 2 will just have direct links to downloads. Once you download them, you want to extract them and open them, and it will pop up with something that looks like this. So let me open it up. It might say like, hey, is this your Hollow Knight path? It'll almost always be your Hollow Knight path, so just put yes. And then you just install and enable CustomKnight. And that's pretty much it. Now let's get to previewing your skin in the game. The first thing you want to do is go to your output folder and copy and paste, or rather copy any of the sprite sheets you're using. You'll probably be setting out with Knight, so if you want you can start with that. But if not, just highlight all of them, right click, and press copy. Next you want to open up Hollow Knight. So I have it already opened, and what you want to do is you want to go to Options, Mods, CustomKnight, and then you want to go to Open Skins. This is the best way I know to get to the screen. There are probably other ways, but oh well. You want to create a new folder and name it whatever you want the name of your CustomKnight to be. So let's just say My First CustomKnight. At this point, you should probably just close Hollow Knight because you don't want to be adding folders in or files in while you have the game open. Paste in your sprite sheets. Optionally, you can create a README text with any information that you want potential users to know. So if you have credits, like you want to put your social media or you want to put instructions for any part of use, you can go to this, new text file, README, and type whatever you want in there and press save. Finally, once you're happy with everything, open up Hollow Knight again. And this part is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll just show it to you. We're going to wait for it to open. This loading screen is just because we have Mod Installer on. Open up a save file, whichever save file is fine. Now I forgot to turn off my skin, so you'll see it's already on, but I'll show you how to do it. You go to Option, Mods, CustomKnight, and then you just want to go to Select Skin. And so you can click through this, go to My First CustomKnight, and press Apply. And I'll briefly show you what it would look like if I was switching skins. So let's go to the demo one, and now you can see it's that. But if I go back and go into Mods, My First CustomKnight, Apply, and there we can go. There we go. Now you can see this in the game. Wrong tab. And here are the extra instructions for it. If you want to read this, you can. I'll mention that this UI is rather new to me, and I'm not super familiar with the new CustomKnight UI. So if you have issues, please ask for help in modding help on the Hollow Knight Discord, or join the Hollow Knight modding server linked in the menu, and I'll show you that real quick too. So if you go to Mods, CustomKnight, it'll say need more help or have suggestions, join the Hollow Knight modding Discord, and if you click this, it will take you there. You might also try fix skins. I don't know what this actually does, but it seems like it might be promising. There are also 2 other mods you can install if you want to test further. So Bench Warp will allow you to easily move around the map to see what your skin looks like in different areas. And the Debug mod will help you give yourself things like Fireball or certain spells and effects to easily test those as well. I'm not going to go over how to use those mods though, because that's not in the confines of this tutorial. So finally, let's get into troubleshooting. One error message you might see in CustomKnight Creator is one that says packing failed file in use. Now for some reason I haven't been able to duplicate this in my own CustomKnight Creator application, but if you get this, it basically means that you have one of your output files like Knight.png open, so you should just close it and try packing it in. It might also say some duplicate sprites are not modified. This would mean that a group of duplicates blah 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 blah. This is the error message I mentioned earlier, and it's going to come up basically every single time that you try to pack. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. It just looks scary. It means one of 2 things. It either means that some of your sprites are still the default Knight, or that some of your sprites are not duplicated. So basically it means that you have literally anything red in this duplicates group tab. So let's see it again. It means that any of these are red or have an X. And as I mentioned earlier, that's nothing to be afraid of. It just means that you're not finished with the skin yet, probably, so you can just ignore it and press continue. You might have an issue where your program crashes and no longer opens up. If that's the case, you want to follow this route. So you want to go to your File Explorer, go to this PC, whichever drive your stuff is on. So for me, it's this very full drive, local disk C. Go to Users, your username, and click CustomKnight Creator and delete this save state.json file. Don't worry about this, it looks scary, but it's not a big deal. Basically, this save state.json file controls a couple of things. It will preload your root folders for you every time you open up the application. It will load up these atlases and collections. It will load up these animations and sprites, and it will load up this output folder. None of those are anything you need to worry about losing. It's not going to affect any of the art you have saved. It's not going to affect any of your sprite sheets. It's just going to make it so that you don't have to put all this in again, and it takes like a minute. Another issue you might have is if you try to preview your animation in the game, the running animation looks weird. And by that I mean in CustomKnight Creator, when you do the run animation, it'll look totally normal and fine. But when you go into the game and you try to run, one of these frames will suddenly look way different. The reason why that will happen is because they swapped out the, I believe, 10th animation of run with the 6th animation of slash, or the 6th frame of slash. Don't ask me why. This only happens in the game. It's part of the coding, not part of the art. So all you need to do is you need to replace the 6th frame of slash with the 10th frame of run. And you can find the file names here. So the 10th frame of run is 05, 09, 009, and the 6th frame of slash is 006, 05, 156. So what you want to do is you want to take 06, 05, 16, or 156, and you just want to replace it or save over it with the artwork for 05, 09, 009. And that's it. It'll look good and clean in both animations. Finally, you might have a problem where when you're previewing your animation in the game, something about the coloring and the lighting looks off. Now, this part of this is probably just inevitable, so there's always going to be a slight glow on the night, which makes colors look lighter. And in addition, the lighting is slightly different in different areas of the game, so that might change how your night looks. Now, if you're pretty sure it's neither of these issues, what you might want to do is you might want to go to your settings, go to video, go to brightness, and make sure that your brightness is at 100%. If it's below or above that, it might look not like what you're expecting. Finally, if you still have some issue, what I want you to do is make sure that your program is up to date. And so CustomKnight Creator does not automatically update itself. So just go to GitHub and make sure you have the newest version. And if nothing else works, try leaving a comment below or asking for help in the modding help channel in the HoloKnight Discord. Again, you can also @ me in the HoloKnight Discord if you need help. That's all, and I hope that you have fun creating your CustomKnight skin.